All right. My first gavel of the year. Good morning, everyone. The adjourned regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council is called to order on Thursday, December 15 at 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton. Councilmember Coops.
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamada.
Here.
Mayor Santinez.
Here. We have one item for today's meeting. Mr. Stewart.
This is the continuation of the public hearing that was opened and closed at the previous meeting, Monday the 12th, and it is an update on the building codes, and I'm just going to jump into it. We've already read the title in, and I'll let Ms. Corpus make the introduction to the City Council.
Ms. Corpus?
Okay. Good morning, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Every 3 years, the California Building Standards Code is updated. This ordinance amends portions of the 2022 CBSC and adopts the 2022 edition of the CBSC. If adopted, this ordinance will take effect within 30 days. Or, I'm sorry, in 30 days. Mm-hmm. There are several projects that are currently in plan check and are in the pipeline. So for projects that have already submitted an application and submitted their building plans, there is a small grace period. They do have to obtain their permits within 90 days of the effective date of this ordinance in order to be exempted from these new code standards. Urgency ordinance number 1422, which is identical to this ordinance, except for the urgency findings, was adopted at Monday's council meeting on December 12th. And I'm going to turn it over to the building official, Jamie Brucaleri. She's going to highlight some of the major changes in the California codes.
All right.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor
Good
and
morning.
members of the council. So some of the updates, the first starting, they've updated the definitions for an accessory dwelling unit, which is an ADU. They've actually gone ahead and labeled it. And because of the ADUs that have been in effect for the last couple of years, they've also updated what a multifamily building is, as well as a single-family building. Next slide. So for the California Building Code and California Residential Code, the major code updates are in regards to the solar energy systems and the roof-mounted photovoltaic panel systems. Next slide. For the fire code, the electrical energy storage systems, which is the ESS, that's been updated to comply with the new fire requirements. And then for the California Green Code, this is for the most part where a lot of the updates are coming from when it comes to the electrical vehicles charging stations for new construction. They've pretty much identified and gone into more for what the exclusions include, like a JADU and an ADU, as well as case-by-case situations. Next, sorry. Then there's also the new multifamily dwelling units, hotels, motels, and new residential EV parking facilities. They've gone into more description as to what the requirements are for that. And overall, those are just going for what EV capable and EV ready stations are. When it comes to multifamily development projects, for less than 20 units, again, it goes back to the EV capable and EV ready. For more than 20 units, they've also included EV chargers in addition to the EV capable and EV ready stations. Then we go to the California Energy Code updates, and these are all required by the state. So ducts in conditional spaces, gas water heater installations, new energy storage systems, ESS, are ready requirements. The new electric ready requirements for space heating, cooking, and clothes dryers. Next slide. And then, so staff is recommending that we waive further reading and adopt ordinance number 1421, or alternatively discuss and take other action related to this item. And this concludes our presentation. Staff is ready for comments if you have any, or questions.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Just in summary, so in essence, we are basically adopting the California Building Code. We're not changing anything from those
Correct,
codes?
yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I want to clarify. Any question of Ms. Brocolari or Corpus from my fellow council members?
Yeah, I just have a
Councilmember Danton.
comment or something. On the EV part of the building code, is when new construction is there, are they having to just pre-wire for charging stations, or put them in, or?
So it's
That looked
both. I mean, they've updated it to, there's going to be, for new construction for dwelling units, single family, they will have to definitely provide it for all new construction, unless it is an ADU or a JADU, and that affects the parking. Then it does, that was the exception. It doesn't relate to that. For when it comes to commercial multifamilies and all of that, they still have to have some stubs put in, but they've increased that amount by a percentage, and they are requiring it for it to be installed. Again, unless there's significant reasons as to that the city finds deemable that we
So
can go ahead and not do
You
it.
mentioned stubs, and then you said require. So some cases, if it's.
So they have to
depends on how
stub
many
up
units,
at a
is that
certain
just
amount of.
conduit only, or,
Correct, yes.
and then,
So you have to do both to a degree. You have to have ready ones
ready to go.
already
Yeah,
done,
ready to
and then
done.
in addition,
Some
there-
additional stub
yes.
outs, okay. And you
So,
just-
whereas right now, it's just you have the stub ups.
And you mentioned another, you brought another question out of my head, ADUs.
Correct.
Yeah, so ADUs.
They are exempt.
Oh, okay, all
They're
ADUs,
exempt.
the junior ADUs and the regular.
JADUs and
okay.
ADUs are
Okay.
exempt.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other question? Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, one quick question. Just, first off, thank you for the presentation. Secondly, the question is for purpose of clarification. When you say new construction, you mean a brand-new property being developed? Not someone adding a kitchen or not someone adding a bedroom to their homes, correct?
If they're remodeling it, that does not count as new construction. If they are doing any form of an addition where they are demoing portions and extending their property, then that is considered new construction.
And is the state saying at certain levels it triggers these, or no matter what?
No matter what.
Wow, that's very aggressive. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other question? Mayor Pro Tem Hamada?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick comment. Well, a question, it'll come to a question. But again, with these updates, and there'll be a time that it'll take effect, has there been a scramble for, to get permits? Has there been a workload increase?
We
at the end of
have
the year?
definitely had an
Yeah.
increase in
Typically,
plan
it-
submittals.
Yeah, typically happens. To try to-
Primarily because of the solar and
Yeah.
EVs charging stations that are going into effect.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that actually brought up another
Oh,
question.
absolutely.
With homes that have for example, existing solar, and they do additions, are they gonna evaluate if that current solar system or panels that they have is sufficient? Or
Yes,
how
so
are they
that
gonna-
would fall under their Title 24. The calculations all come through that, and that'll be included within that. So based on the Title 24, that'll tell you if you have to update your solar panels or if what you currently have is sufficient.
Interesting. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Coops?
Yes. It used to be, and maybe it's the same number, that when you have a $50,000 or more addition or remodel on your home, that triggers underground utility. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is.
Or did that number ever change?
No, that number did not change. That
Yeah,
was
and
not-
that's in the BMC as opposed to the building code.
Correct. So is there any tie-in between, I think we just touched on, how, it's anything you do in terms of remodel is going to trigger these new requirements. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, it goes back to when the requirements will come into place once they do the Title 24. So that's when the triggers will be evaluated.
We might want to think about that threshold. 50,000 is pretty low in today's dollars.
Well, that was
for
my
construction.
consideration.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
been a number for 10 years or so.
Yeah,
And
that's
the way
something
the
that-
price of materials and labor's gone up, we may have to
I think-
reconsider that.
I think that's something we'll bring back shortly after the new year to rethink, because that is a pretty low number. I mean, any room addition now is 50 grand.
Kitchen remodel can run that. you know.
Well,
Thank
my
you very
quote
much.
was 140, thank you.
Yeah.
I know.
All right, any other question? All right, is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, what's our pleasure?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1421.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Danton, second by Councilmember Coops to adopt
1421.
1421. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton,
Aye.
Councilmember Coops,
Here. Aye. Here and
Councilmember,
aye.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamada,
Aye.
Mayor Santenaz.
Yeah.
Aye. All right, before I adjourn the meeting, I just want to clarify that usually the city council takes its dark on the second meeting of December. And also, for the regular meeting in the first meeting in January, we will not have the regular meeting on January 9th. Instead, it will be on January 12th in the afternoon at 4 p.m. So with that, this meeting is adjourned to the next regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council at 4 p.m. on Thursday, January 12, 2023.